This is the Automotive Repair Podcast Network.
Welcome to another episode of Speak Up Effective Communication, the show on the Auto Repair Podcast Network focused on elevating our communication and leadership skills. Its elevation is the up in Speak Up. That's what it's for. It doesn't just mean speak your mind on anything that comes to it. We're actually trying to elevate the communication skills in the industry, and I have a great guest with me today who is involved in communication in the industry, Mike Edge, host of the Gain Traction podcast. Mike, thanks for joining me.
I'm glad to be here, Craig. Very excited.
Glad to have you as a guest and get to reverse the roles. Had the privilege of being a guest on your show way back. Chris Cloutier, our CEO, has been there. Chan's been on the show. There's so many others. And this is going to be a ton of fun to get to have you be in the hot seat this time. Instead of asking all the questions, you get to talk more.
I don't know if I like this, but we're going to go with it.
We're going to go with it. Thanks so much, Mike. And hey, folks, we have a word of the day every week here on this show. And the word of the day I chose is coalesce. Coalesce. And we will define that word for you after we hear a brief word from our sponsors who make this show possible. Did you know the Institute helps shop owners scale to multiple locations? We're the solution for building productivity, profitability, and growth. Learn more at wearetheinstitute.com/business-assessment. Your partner in technology, AutoFlow is able to enhance your client interactions before, during, and after the visit from a single thread. To see how AutoFlow makes it simple, visit autoflow.com. Your trusted companion, ShopDog Marketing, is right by your side, attracting the best customers and building long-term growth. Call ShopDog Marketing today or visit shopdogmarketing.com. Supercharge your auto shop with Inbound, AI-powered communication analytics and phone service for your professional shops. Visit callinbound.com. Are you passing along credit card fees to your customers? No one likes that. Express is the only 0% fee alternative to credit card surcharging. Visit myexpress.io. And we're back. Thanks for joining us. We have coalesce is the word of the day today, and that is a verb. I feel like we've been doing a lot of nouns lately. We threw a verb in there. Coalesce means to come together, to form one group or mass. A common goal to coalesce around would be a way that you could use that in a sentence. And you know what? I think my guest has been doing exactly that sort of thing and trying to get a lot of the players and individuals and really brilliant minds inside of the tire portion of the business, especially, but auto repair in general as well, to coalesce around some common goals, right? Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely.
Good word for you, isn't it?
It is.
Well, that'll lead right into the what's your mantra topic that I want to go straight into, because it seems like that's an element of it. But you've got to have something that's guiding you in all of this.
It's one that many of the guests on my show have used, but it's the golden rule: treat people the way you want to be treated. And it's amazing how many people in this industry say that, because, in this industry, it gets a bad rep, right? I mean, when people don't understand what's under their hood, there's immediate distrust when someone says, hey, you need to spend $1,000 to fix this or take care of that.
It's a cheap repair.
It is. But to the customer, it might not be. So immediately they're like, they bristle up a little bit. And that's where things like DVI become important, trying to build that trust, show the customer what your problem is. And it's not me making it up, it's not, the shop owner saying, they're trying to take advantage of people. But I think in this industry, I like the scripture of, treat people the way you want to be treated, do unto others as you'd have them do to you. And it's interesting how many people do try to live by that in this industry. That doesn't mean we don't have some rotten eggs. I get that in the basket. But overall, I think we have a lot of good people in this industry and they try to do the right thing.
Yeah, dude. I feel like that's my experience in the industry too. I meet some of the best people in the world, salt of the earth people. And I am still confronted with the stigma all the time. And I was back in my day too, but it wasn't my experience. It's like two people had two different realities that they were coming at. Yeah,
that's it. I mean, look, the difference in our industry is that no one is looking to spend money on their car today. They want it to work, but they're not looking to wake up and say, hey, I can't wait to put a new set of tires on my car, or I can't wait to get my transmission fixed today, or whatever the problem turns out to be. But if you think about the sales process, which is always interesting to me, if you look at products, whether they're tangible or intangible, let's go with the tangible. If you're a golfer or a hunter, you like to browse online, you like to go shopping for those toys, whatever those things may be, and you're eager to potentially buy, right? I mean, you're thinking about it. But when it comes to your car, look, you're not, I mean, you may have a budget for it, you may not, but the reality is you never want to tap that budget, or you never want to spend money on something that's broken. It breaks and you're just not ready to spend whatever that money is.
Yeah, I feel like the car enthusiasts are inherently don't have the budget. My son's a great example right now. He's 20 and loves his car, loves the car. He's got the '04 Acura TL I picked up, and he wants to spend all of his money on that thing.
But you're talking about a different segment there. Yeah, you're talking about a smaller segment than the general population.
Yeah, I can't wait till he joins that general part of the population for the thing trying to help him budget for.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, that's the part of the fun. No, that's great. Your background, you seem to have lived this industry for a very long time. How did you get connected with it? Was it very young?
No, it wasn't. Actually, I had been in industrial sales for a long time, and I got into industrial digital marketing. And one of my first clients happened to be Jasper Engines and Transmissions. You know, most of your listeners have probably heard of them, and they're big, and they're about 45 minutes up the road from me. They're a marquee company, and a lot of people in our area knew who they were. So, and they were a very difficult company. And I knew this from the past and from industrial sales to sell to. They just had, they had quite a due diligence process of bringing in a new vendor. And when I had the opportunity to introduce them to digital marketing outside of what they were doing, they kind of had this attitude like, hey, our marketing department's bigger than your entire company. What are you going to bring us that we don't? At that time, they were sponsoring a full-blown NASCAR team. So, the budget was big, And I said, well, I've just noticed a few things that I think are important for you. And some of that was just basic getting found through remanufactured engines or remanufactured transmissions, and you not showing up. They said, well, why is that important? We're not, we sell to the garages. We don't care about Joe Consumer. We do care about Joe Consumer, but he's not our target. And I said, well, I beg to differ with you. And I used myself as an example. I said, I'm not a transmission guy, but I also don't want to walk into a shop knowing that I'm ignorant on this topic, worried that I might get ripped off, right? So I'm going to go online and I'm going to read about it at first and then try to figure out a little bit of knowledge so that I can, know what to do or who to think about and the product. So I've mentioned a couple of competitors, and I said, if I read about transmissions from one of your competitors, why am I going to go ask for a Jasper? And then that's when their eyes opened up and they said, okay, we're interested in talking. And the group I had represented at that time in digital marketing did a 45-page report for that group. The rest is history. They ended up becoming a client. Literally, there were some tire guys in the area that were large groups. We got an introduction to them and they realized, hey, these guys, they know something that we don't know. And then it just fell into the tire industry and then all the whole automotive repair space. And then that ended up being the segment that I absolutely loved, because back to the people of this industry, it was just a good group of people overall. I had a lot of fun in the industry, and that started in 2003. So it's been a long time. I mean, I've been in it over 22 years.
I look at the list of the people you've interviewed on the podcast and I'm scrolling there. Oh, they're wonderful. Oh, that's a great guy. Oh, there it is. There's Mark Pons, right? And there's the Thomas Tire folks and all the thing. Jared Lunding's in there. Darren McClay, all these great names. Some of the warmest, most wonderful people. You are spot on. So it sounds like, your proximity to the industry is a unique one around Jasper. But then what kept you in it was the people.
That's it. I'm like a lot of people. I stepped away just for a small time. I had an opportunity to come back to it. And it was funny because I didn't think about it at the time, but I jumped back at it because the people. And it was interesting. I met Mike Graber, president of Toyota Tire USA, had him on as a guest. And it was funny. He said that he stepped away for a little bit and ended up having a chance to come back to the industry. And he said, I'm like everybody else. I came back, and one of the biggest reasons was the people. And here's the guy, he's a president of, a major tire corporation. And he says, I love it because it's not corporate-y, and he's the president. And it just tells you the vibe that you get within the industry of from top to bottom, the people like the people. That's it.
It is. Yeah. I feel like I've really blessed myself to have grown up in the industry. And I came from a small transmission shop and found my way to working with some wonderful organizations across the country, across the world now, in many cases. And this is, wow. Like, how does that happen? I don't feel special. I never went to business school or some of these other things. I grew up in this industry and I really found this way through this niche. And it just, the network connections lead to the next thing. And you just really end up liking the people you're around. Yeah.
I jokingly tell people, what was that old cliche? You're 6 degrees away from Kevin Bacon or whatever it was. And you're 6 degrees, they say, away from everybody, whatever. But the reality is in the tire industry, and I think in the automotive sector in general, you're really only about 2 degrees. You're going to know somebody that knows somebody. It's that tight. It's that close.
Yeah, it's always like the handshakes. How many handshakes away are in this business? I feel like it's how many hugs away you are half the time,
That's a good way of putting it.
It's a tight community. I think we've forged our relationships from some common experiences. And I feel like that's one of the things that you're really, really good at, Mike, is that you have these conversations with people and you draw out of them a lot of what makes them tick and you find those common areas. And I think what I see you doing with what I hear you say already about your awareness of the stigma of this industry is like you still see the people. And it feels to me like you're just on a straight up mission to just draw out the people and let them share their hearts so that they can show the world who we really are.
I appreciate it very much. I think it comes honestly inherently, and you don't realize this about yourself until you get older. You got to go through some life experiences and then kind of what makes you tick, what makes you appreciate people. But I genuinely like people and I genuinely like to know what makes them tick, and, when it comes to saying like, if I was to spend time, if you gave me a choice to watch something or, tune into something, I enjoy documentaries, biographies, and biographies in particular. How did somebody get from A to Z? What did they do? What drove them? What was their motivation? And sometimes it was necessity, right? I mean, they were just dirt poor and they started out in a particular industry and they just took off with it, or they were born into an industry, or maybe they weren't. Maybe they just were entrepreneurial enough to see something, a gap in an industry, and they just said, hey, I can do that. And it's just interesting to watch. One of my favorite historical programs that was on the History Channel was The Men Who Made America. Did you see that one?
I did not see that one. No.
Oh, it's fabulous. It starts out with Vanderbilt and his shipbuilding. Then he sold all his ships and he got into railroads and how he dominated the railroad industry in the United States. And the railroads, people don't realize this, they weren't government supported. They weren't built by the government. They were built by entrepreneurs. And then how Rockefeller followed him and how the oil industry was in need of transportation and how Vanderbilt and Rockefeller, and they worked together, but they butted heads a little bit here and there. And then Rockefeller figured out ways to build pipelines instead of having to put his oil on train cars. I mean, it's just interesting to watch that, but you would love that. And they even get all the way to Henry Ford and the Carnegie and JP Morgan.
JP Morgan's got to be in there. I just saw a documentary on Wyatt Earp and how he was connected to how that all started getting resolved.
I saw that myself. That was crazy.
Wow. Is that a good one?
Yes. The whole thing of the shootout at the OK Corral affected his business in Europe.
Exactly. Yeah. Wild stuff, isn't it?
I know.
Dude, what I hear in you is what I absolutely try to instill in so many people. Like, we talk about communication skills on this podcast a lot, and part of it is good listening skills. And the way to become a really good listener, in my opinion, is to have curiosity, genuinely care enough to want to know more. And I keep hearing wonderment and maybes, and you're just wondering, like, what made these people tick like that? It's so obvious to me right now, right here, listening to that. That's why you're such a great listener and a good host.
You're very kind. I just enjoy it. I really do. So thank you.
Yeah. That curiosity is the main driver of, I believe, good relationships. Like anyone that's in a relationship for a long period of time too, all of us, we have conversations with our spouses who are married, right? This is like keeping that curiosity, the constant growth that it takes to have a healthy relationship. If you're always curious about what the other is doing and want to know those details, you're going to have a healthy relationship.
Absolutely. Yeah, I enjoy making friendships. That doesn't mean everybody's going to be a close friend.
Sometimes you have curiosity and you find out you don't want to be friends.
It's just a reality of life, right? But it's fun to just get to know people. And sometimes you're going to go deeper with other people, and that's okay. That's just the way it is.
Looking to take your shop to the next level of quality service, team culture, and overall profitability? At the Institute, we provide personalized coaching that aligns with your goals of financial stability, excellent customer service, and employee satisfaction. Our priority is helping you establish significant and sustainable progress. We work with you to create strategies that reduce the stress of running your business, improve your quality and performance, and optimize your profitability. Experience the benefits of professional coaching by visiting wearetheinstitute.com/business-assessment. It's time for today's Suck Less Spotlight from AutoFlow. Today's spotlight is on advisor eye twitches. Listen, clients like to stay informed throughout the repair process, and studies indicate clients are most satisfied receiving text updates versus phone calls. But call you they will, interrupting everything from estimating to quality conversations and your game of solitaire. That is, unless you text them first using AutoFlow. With AutoFlow's automated text updates, your phone only rings for the right reasons. That way, with less phone interruptions, your eye twitch will definitely suck less. For this and more things that could suck less, visit AutoFlow.com. Want to see your auto repair shop thrive? Are you looking to drive more customers to your auto repair shop? Let ShopDog Marketing be your guide. Our customer-first approach, combined with AI-driven creative content, ensures top rankings. Dominate mobile first and voice search with our specialized expertise. Reach out to ShopDog Marketing today and start growing your business. Don't miss out on this chance to boost your business. Visit shopdogmarketing.com. Inbound has exclusively served independent auto repair shops with expert communication solutions for years. Our robust VoIP platform ensures you stay connected while our industry-leading AI analytics take your business to the next level. We provide the tools you need to understand your customers and optimize every interaction. Choose Inbound for proven expertise and unmatched innovation. Visit callinbound.com and discover the difference we can make. Credit card surcharging sounds effective, but is the single most damaging action to your shop in the last decade. If you're surcharging, you're tarnishing your reputation and losing customers as we speak. Express is the only 0% fee option to surcharging that your customers already know how to use. No tricks, no hidden fees, just a smarter way for auto shops to keep what's yours and do right by your customers. Book a free consultation with Express today by visiting myexpress.io and see how the most successful shops in the country are flipping the script on credit card processors. So you got into the podcasting piece, right? So here you kind of found your way to the people in the tire business. What brought you to the podcasting element?
Well, Neil Meyer and Dave Christopher are the co-owners of Tread Partners. That's our parent company. And they had this bright idea. They wanted to do a podcast. And when I came on board with the company about a year in, Neil I think we were on the phone call together. I don't think we were on a Zoom. And he said that, hey, I've got this idea that I want to do a podcast. I was like, okay, and I'm not thinking it's going to involve me, Craig. So I'm just like, oh, okay, great idea,
Cool.
Well, yeah, exactly. And then about 6 months later, he's like, we're doing the podcast. It's like, it's happening. I've got an outside group that's going to, support us, that'll teach us how to do it, all this stuff. Well, he kept using this kind of word that was inclusive of me. And I was just like, it dawned on me to maybe ask the question, who's hosting this thing? And he said, I asked him, I said, well, who's hosting? And he said, well, both of us, we're going to trade off and we're going to find our own guest. And I'm like, I'm on the phone, so he can't see me, but I'm trying to be the good employee. And I'm like, oh gosh, this is something, it's not like something I wanted to add to my plate. Right. And it's just an initial reaction, but being the team player I am, I just said, all right, well, great. When do you want to get started? And he says, well, we're going to have a meeting with this outside group and they're going to coach us a little bit, tell us what we need to do. And then we're going to just independently find our guest. And I'm like, okay. So anyway, that's how it started. And then about 6 to 9 months in, Neil and I had a meeting and we're on Zoom and he says, man, I'm struggling. I said, well, what? And he goes, I'm having a hard time doing this. He said, I don't like it as much as I think you do. And I said, that's so funny. I said, I started out with a lot of apprehension and every episode I've gotten to where I love it. He goes, I can tell. And he said, I want to step back and then you're going to take out, you're just going to run with it. So now we're in 4.5 years now. And it's funny just how you grow into something and you just realize you got to keep adjusting, right? I mean, you learn a lot about yourself and you learn about the process and preparation. And it was interesting because I thought Neil did a good job, but he just didn't enjoy it. He said the pressure of preparation for him was very, he goes, I can't get over the comfort zone of the prep part, of just making sure I'm going to do a good podcast for my guests. I didn't want to let them down. I didn't want to let the audience down, and but Neil's a very intuitive guy. He knows himself well. And he just like, that's my struggle. And I said, that's interesting. I keep getting better at that. So I noticed, you were asking me that question, but with communication, I noticed my big error in the beginning. The group that helped us, they give you a list of like general questions maybe to help you. And I used to have them sitting over here on this other screen. I would literally pepper my guests with these questions, right? And it was just like, not listening. I'm not listening. I'm just hitting you with questions because that's what's in front of me, And I realized I got to nail down this not healthy. Something's not flowing right because I don't feel like I'm having a conversation. So I kept narrowing down the list. I didn't get rid of it yet, but I kept narrowing it down until I got to a point where I'm like, I don't even need this list. I need to get rid of this list because actually the list ended up being a hindrance to me, and it didn't allow for that free flowing conversation. And you notice, like you're talking about the listening, you're not listening because you're thinking, I got to get to the next one. So I got you on trial and I'm a litigator and I'm just peppering you,
That so fits one of the questions I wanted to ask for you too, is like, cause you have this conversational style on there. And I think you do just get people to open up. That's what I hear in each one of the interviews that I've seen you do there. People love talking about themselves. Dale Carnegie says, everybody loves talking about themselves. So it's not like that's very hard. You ask a few good questions, sure. But do you have an agenda inside of those questions still, or do you just really let the conversation guide what comes out?
We have a slight agenda. And what I mean by that is, we try to do a biographical podcast. There's a lot of technical podcasts.
It's a good word for it. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of technical podcasts out there where people are digging in technical stuff, but I'm not a technical guy. So, but I also kind of went with the golden rule thing. What am I interested in? I'm interested in people. I'm interested in what makes that guy think or that woman or that heart, what's in their heart, what's driving them, what motivates them. And so when you think about it from that perspective, it was just to draw things out of people. And then that preparation, it was really built around, okay, I'm going to be a little biographical. We got to know who you are, right? The audience wants to know who they're listening to. Then you got an opportunity within the 25, 30 minutes that we do a podcast. What are you interested in talking about? If you were given the opportunity to talk to your most beloved audience, whether that be, you're president of a large corporation and you want every potential person that could work for you to hear something, what would you want to convey that would make it good to work here? Or if you're talking to your customer, what would that look like? How would you want to convey that? Well, they all have some form of a mission in their mind, like why they exist. So they tell you what that is. And then my opportunity is to draw that out of them and give them that opportunity to just really tee it up for them and allow them to, hit the ball of the park and have fun doing it. And we try to make it fun.
Yeah. You're helping them. Your mission seems to be help them have that opportunity to describe their mission. Yeah.
Yeah. I like to think of our podcast as bringing the industry together and lifting the brands and the people behind the brands and what makes these brands successful, whether they may be a one-shop operator in Minnesota or they may be, COO of a corporation with 400 locations. That's fine. But what makes your brand tick and what makes you excited to be, a spokesperson for that brand?
That's good stuff. No, Mike, you speak to a lot of individuals in the tire world, but I know it is a little bit more broad than that. I'd be curious. You mentioned a lot of the brands. I think a lot of the brands out there are some amazing people. I see them different shows all the time. I feel like a lot of the problems and a lot of the successes right now, there's some common variables that each of them are facing. I'd be curious if this has shaped your perspective of the tire world in particular right now and what we're seeing at this weird technological era. I feel like people are actually getting to this point now where we're starting to drift away and technology is becoming this thing that's going to imitate communication a little bit more and all these things. But the tire world is almost insulated from some of this for some reason still. I don't know if that's quite right.
But I'm curious what your take is. Successes, challenges, are they the same?
I think I know what you're getting to. Honestly, I think, look, technology, in my opinion, always has a place in industry, in any industry, not just ours. But at the end of the day, it's still a people world, and people like to talk to people. I'm the same type of person. At the end of the day, I like when I go to my tire guy or the auto repair shop, I like to be able to drop my keys on the counter and just say, call me, and tell me what's wrong, because I don't have time to sit there.
You're a key dropper. Wonderful.
I am. I'm a loyal customer. And there's a reason I'm doing business with you. It's because I trust you that you're going to tell me what we need to do. And we got a small fleet of cars here because I've got several kids, and that's just the way it works. So we're always doing something with somebody's car, right? I mean, something's up, whether it's just maintenance or something breaks. But the reality is the guys that I do business with know me, and they know that I trust them. But at the end of the day, technology does provide a lot of, call it with DVI or anything else, it greases the wheels of communication. I think that's the important part of understanding it. It doesn't go away. It's interesting to me, like, I use this example, but I've got a really good friend of mine that's a very successful investment advisor. He's been in Nashville for 30 plus years. He's basically said that, the threat of our industry is that AI is going to take over, that you're not going to need an investment advisor, right? He said, but what I've come to understand is that people still want you to sit down with them at their office or their living room when they're dealing with their finances. It's a big, big deal. And when you're talking about their retirement or their future or what that looks like, they still want to talk to a person that understands their pain points, their concerns. And technology doesn't do that, at least not yet, Craig. And I don't know that it could ever replace the human heart of sympathy and empathy. And you could go online and just get all these answers and feel comfortable that you're going to push the right button to do the buy or sell or whatever you need to do. I feel like that, and in this industry in particular, because of that trust factor, trust is not built through technology. Only if technology is used as a tool. I think trust is built through same relationship. It's the people. But at the end of the day, the tool technology might help that, but it's not the end all be all. Does that make sense?
Oh man, it's 100%. I was doing a couple presentations on this right now because you know how CRM technologies work, right? This is the world. And I've told this story a few times on the podcast, but I asked my home Toastmasters club what CRM means. And they're a bunch of professionals from other industries. And it's customer relationship management or client relationship management. You'll hear one of those two things. You ask our industry in the auto repair segment what CRM means, and they say customer retention marketing. And it's like, whoa, why is there such that difference there? The relationship management element of the technology is how every other industry is. Ours has been sold this CRM, customer retention marketing concept. So I built up some slides when I'm talking on CRM, and I have like in the middle of a plank on top of a little triangle, like it's a teeter-totter almost look. It's like there's either task automation for consistent repeatability, or there's meaningful engagement, which is done by staff action. Right. So staff action versus task automation, staff action leading to meaningful engagement, and consistent repeatability being the benefit of the automation side of things. Right. Why do we look at it as it's one or the two things? Most shops I talk to are always saying something like, my team won't engage this. I just need it to be on autopilot. Like the tool is going to do the job for you has been asked for a decade before AI was even in the picture.
The agencies are guilty of it.
Absolutely. We were asked for it, right? I say this and I'll put a software organization hat on my head and say, you asked us to build these sort of things. The demand came from within. They just didn't know how to articulate what their real problem was. And the real problem isn't the fact that their staff won't engage it. The real problem is our orientation as businesses aren't aimed at retention. We are focused on something else as our goal when a customer walks in the door, other than that. And so my whole re-education element is all aimed at exactly what you just said, is helping people understand that it's a tool. It's only useful if your staff is the one using it. It's a yes and approach. Yes, there is some automation that will do and technology that will grease the wheels, as you say, so well said. It has to be a platform that recognizes both realities, isn't trying to sell you all automation or trying to sell you all staff action. It's a platform that can manage both things intelligently.
Because one is a major disconnect, right? I mean, like if you are all automation the customer feels that.
The communication's disconnected. Yes.
Totally, because you'll get communication that doesn't necessarily align with your need, and you realize, why did I get this one?
Or they manage the data so poorly that the automation was flat out wrong. Now you've just sent them noise that isn't even relevant to their lifestyle with their vehicle or their needs.
Guess what happens with us as humans? We'll get that text or that email. Now it's white noise, so we don't even open it. We're just like, boop, it's gone. It's deleted or thrown to the junk email, and
you've made your job harder now. Yeah.
Nah, because how are you going to bring me back to want to see your text or your emails because they're not relevant?
Yeah. People don't realize that stop that they text back. They have to text the word start in order to go back in, which means you're going to have to teach them the number that they have to text start to. Good luck.
I'd love to know the data on that one in this industry, because
how many people successfully text back start? It would be actually a smart metric to be able to look at. Yep, we track opt-outs.
At the end of the day, you don't ever want to lose a customer, but you don't want to lose communication. And if they've opted out, man, you did something wrong. You wore them out, or you didn't keep your information relevant. There was a disconnect. And now you're just hoping.
Yeah, I think it was, I want to say it was like episode 14 that I did. Yeah, episode 14, what your opt-outs are really telling you. For a lot of people, if you get that opt-out, that's your client's first time where they actually had a choice on whether they wanted that communication from you or not, because you never had the conversation about having relevant and actual materials being sent to them. It's terrible.
I'll give you a perfect example, and it's not in this industry, but the HVAC company I used to be with, they had this fall and spring dual deal where you paid one fee for the year and they would just automatically call you when they had you booked. And I was like, that's cool. I'd like to be in that schedule, because then I don't have to think about, just getting my furnace checked before the winter or my AC check before the summer. And I'm a preventive maintenance guy. I realize it's going to prevent, future problems or serious problems, whatever. I want it. So, and they had a good deal on it. So I think it took this company 2-3 years before they actually got my opt-in right, because I was calling them and I'd be like, hey, I thought you guys were going to call me this fall and check my furnace, and you didn't. Oh yeah, we're sorry, Mr. Edge, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Miss one, right? Fine. They came out. The spring rolls around and I still had to make that call. And I thought, something's not working here, and guess what? I'm not with that company anymore. The one I've got now, they're really good at it. Matter of fact, I'm not going to say they push it too hard, but they do get in touch with me very early and they say, hey, do you want to be on the schedule to get your furnace checked? And I'm like, yes. And it's my favorite medium. I know everybody has a different one, but I love texting, and especially this. So they'll send it as a text, and man, we're getting along great. And I get the same service tech too, because they'll double check when they call me to verify, are you going to be home or somebody going to be there, whatever. Do you care if we send a new tech, or do you want the same one that's always been there? I want the same one. And because me and this guy, we just click. His name's DeMarco. He's a great guy. He comes in, he takes care of the stuff. And, I want somebody familiar with my equipment. That's all. Been here. I don't have to show you everything again or tell you the little problems we've had of the past or whatever,
Yeah, it just sounds like the right approach, and they've won the business because of it. Who wouldn't want that? Interesting. Why is that hard to build?
I don't know, but I don't know if these people realize how good DeMarco is for them, because he's not only a good technician, he's a good communicator, because we'll do a little BSing about life and different things, sports, whatever, but he's just a really good communicator, and he's got my cell now. So he'll always call me and say, hey, I'm on my way. You're going to be available, or is the door unlocked? Can I just come on in or something like that? And it's just nice. There's a perfect example of using technology, but you still have the person and then that connection and bringing it all together.
And it's a good example, Mike. A little slice of history right there that I think we'll all look back on someday and think, that was nice. No, I think that'll hang out as long as that's in demand. And I think that you just made it desirable again by articulating it the way you did. So that's great. So, hey, life outside of the podcast, outside of work in general, what makes you tick out there? Yeah, I heard history and curiosities, and I'm betting there's reading and some great historical documentation shows that you're watching.
Well, I'm a very family man, very big in family. We have a Sunday night dinner here that we never miss. I have, my wife loves to do that. My 5 children, they're all 18 up to 28, and only one of them lives away, and she's married with my grandson they had this past May.
Oh, congratulations, Grandpa Mike. Oh, boy.
So we've got 3 of those, and 2 of them live here, which is awesome. So We get to see them frequently, two of the three. We kind of trained our kids, but it kind of came from my parents, her parents, even my grandma. They all did things around food, and having people over frequently and learning through that example. And then we are doing it now. Your kids they may not act like it all the time, just like I didn't, but everybody likes to come back to the nest, eat, hang out, crack jokes, whatever, watch a little football or whatever's on TV, maybe play a game, something. But there's just that weekly interaction that they know they can come back for. And then, I do some hunting. I like that. I like fishing. I don't get to do as much. I like poker when I can play, but sometimes it can be time consuming. So it's kind of like I'm in my 50s now. So my brain says I still can, right? Athletically, but I know I can't. So poker is kind of like a competitive outlet. I just enjoy doing it. So you can be competitive and you get to know the same people you play with, whatever. And you can go to the same tournaments and you recognize the same people. And it's just kind of fun. And hey, I want to kick his butt this time. I hope I get the best of him here because,
Yeah, but that game, you can't let your heart rate get too high anyway. They're going to be reading you.
Oh, yeah. No, you got to act like, everything's just cool all the time. You just pretend like it's exactly what you thought was going to happen.
Actually, you can do that. I really do.
You mentioned history and things. Listen, I'm a very faith-filled person, a God-fearing man. I like reading things that have to do with depth. I like the deep water. I like having very deep conversations with people. I don't force them. They kind of come naturally, and
you find the right person. Then there's the little seeds that you plant, and then somebody goes and waters that seed. Now we've grown into a whole huge conversation.
And then all of a sudden you get in this big conversation. And interesting enough, people immediately assume if you're faith-filled or whatever, you're going to be rigid or whatever. I can be rigid in my belief of what I think is right and wrong. But at the same time, I've got that curiosity to know what makes you tick. Why do you think that? So I can have great conversations with people I completely disagree with.
I love that, man. It's so rare.
Well, it is extremely rare. And if I find that jewel on the other side that's willing to have that engagement, man, we can be friends and completely disagree. And it's an interesting friendship. It's a lot of mutual respect that I like to have. But it's interesting how very few people want to have those kind of friends, but I think they're the fun ones. I mean,
they're the fun ones, man.
Now, don't get me wrong. Everybody likes to sit around with people they're going to agree with, and
there's a time for that too. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you sharpen your sword that way. Somebody gives you new insights, whatever.
Yeah. Good men's Bible study or something at church, and you got your group there and you have a solid foundation, but then you go out and you have conversations with your friend who's a Buddhist. I don't care. Right.
Absolutely. I mean, my wife and kids think I'm nuts sometimes, but you'll get some of those people that'll knock on your front door, or maybe it's a Jehovah's Witness or somebody like that. And admire people that want to express themselves, but I'll invite them in and we'll have some deep water discussions and, and I'm like, come back, if you want to do it again. But I mean, I'm engaging. I don't care. Let's just talk, and I like going to dinner with people that might not agree with, but we're going to have a good conversation.
You bet. That's great. Oh, dude, I've been on a C.S. Lewis kick lately, reading his classics. Great documentary on, you have Amazon Prime for video, and that's what everyone does, figured.
I think I saw that one. What's it called?
The Most Reluctant Convert. It's about an hour long. Dude, I've watched it 4 times now. I downloaded it. I've watched it on a few of the flights there. It is so good. It's actually based off a screenplay, Max something. I can't think of the author's name. It's based off of the biography of C.S. Lewis, Surprised by Joy. Dude, it goes deep, and it does it in such an artful way too. You'll absolutely eat it up.
You're like me in this. I'm interested in the people that amaze me the most in life. I don't necessarily like labels other than this one. I'm a truth seeker, and I believe there is only one truth. I don't think you can make math up in different ways, right? I mean, 1 + 1 is going to always equal 2. That's just a reality. Well, nature works the same way, and we call that natural law. They're just fundamentals, not going to change. And I think God loves us so much. He's so consistent with us that it's our job to figure out what he's telling us. When I hear people say, well, that's just a gray area, like in morality, they'll say sometimes it's a gray area. I've come to the conclusion that God, if he's perfect light, like they say, even the great philosophers, the great church fathers, whatever, God is pure light. Well, if he is, then there's no gray because it's just light. It's pure. And, Moses had to put a veil over his face because he saw the brightness of God. So If that's the case, then there is no gray. If you have gray, it's usually due to your own deficiencies, let's call them sin, or it's due to your lack of knowledge, which is something that can be overcome easy too by just going to get more knowledge. So I think it's our job to always seek truth. And if we're truth seekers and we run into each other on the path of life, then we're all trying to find that one answer. I really struggle when people say, well, you can have your truth and I can have mine. No, you can't.
Oh, I know. It's like, that's the heartbreaking thing. It's like, I tell my kids, like, they should all be able to tell you, what's the one thing I pray for more than anything else? They've grown up enough. They stop saying, I don't know, safety. No, wisdom, his wisdom, and that I can align my will with his wisdom. And that's maybe the only secret to success that I could even offer anyone is that's the only prayer that I know that it is guaranteed. He will give it to you. He will.
And it's the one thing that you can ask for that he even tells you. Christ himself tells you that too. Like if you ask the Father, he will give you this. And okay, then maybe I should be asking for that more often, right?
All the time, every day.
And human nature, I notice this when you're younger, I think sometimes you want to be right, you know?
Oh, absolutely. You want to be the guy with the answer, which is the hardest thing not to be.
Yes. And so I think once we realize we don't have the answers, but I know where to get it. I know he's got it. And it's my job to open my heart, my mind to recognize it. And I think it's put it this way, you go through life a lot better and you meet a lot of interesting people. And you also realize that, okay, I think that person's crazy, but they said one thing that got my attention, right? And I don't know if you remember this, but I think it's a Robert Frost. I think it's in a Robert Frost poem. I don't know if it's in the poem or if he actually says this, but he basically says, I consider all men my superior because in at least one thing, they're better than me. And I can learn from them at least something that they're better than me in, and therefore he's my superior. And if we look at life that way, I think you come with a more humble heart towards everybody. I can't remember who said this to me. It might have been on a podcast, going totally blank. But if you look at everybody's packing something like a challenge in life. Everybody's packing something. But if we approach everybody from that angle that, hey, they're all carrying something, everybody's got a burden. Well, if I approach Craig O'Neill that way, you know what? I'm going to be a little less abrasive to him. You know, when Craig has a bad day or he expresses himself in a way I don't like, whatever. It doesn't mean anything. You know, it causes you to be a little bit more patient with people.
Does, yeah. Chris Cloutier, you've talked with him recently, our CEO here at AutoFlow. One of the best book recommendations he tossed my way was by the author Brant Hansen's Christian author. The book is Unoffendable. It's very much in line with what you were just saying. It's like, yeah, when you actually go through the world and not looking to take offense to different things, and even though someone's having a bad day, might be treating you poorly, it's off your back. There's a whole different outlook on it. Brant Hansen does a great job. That and The Men We Need, another great read. Chris is in that one right now.
Craig, that doesn't mean I don't drive down the road with a little road rage once in a while. I mean, it still can pop up. Yes.
I know, man. It's so easy to forget. It's so easy. These are forever people all around us. Man, it's hard out there.
It is. I mean, look, so there's things that could just push your buttons, right? I mean, you're like at the end of the day, you could check up and go, yeah, I'm sure he didn't mean to drive out in front of me because otherwise I would apply. Now here comes Mike. And sometimes, we play with that attitude like, well, here comes Mike Edge. I'm going to pull out in front of you. Watch this.
Yeah, it's strange. I don't know. I feel like in traffic, it was the first thing that society had where they had their insular bubble. Like you had this safety realm around you, and people online later on, the trolling and all the other nastiness that can come on internet forums. Same sort of principle. Like they feel like they can get away with it because there's this anonymity behind the glass of these vehicles or the cage or whatever. And I don't know, man.
That's very interesting. Yes, I never looked at it that way.
Yeah, like this is my bubble. There's no consequences outside of it, right?
I totally got off social media, like Facebook deleted.
You too? When?
I did mine quite a few years ago. I did it I did my Facebook. I got on it right at the beginning. I built up to like 1,500 from best friends,
Yeah, oh yeah, best friends. Yes. Should be what they call it now.
Well, one day it just decided my wife and I both did it. We just deleted it. All of a sudden, you're not in all these dumb, silly discussions, arguments, because really no one's listening on social media. They just everybody, watch this. I'm going to get my good point in. I'm going to get this one in.
I'm eating this tonight. Look at what I'm eating.
And everybody's just dropping cherry bombs, and
I was so glad. I deleted it about 2 or 3 months ago now. I did a podcast on it recently here. And I did an Irish goodbye on it, Mike. I just laughed. I didn't tell anybody I was doing it until I had done it.
That's so funny. I did the same thing. Why do I want to tell everybody that? Everybody go, no.
No, someone might talk me out of it, maybe, No,
it was just delete. Are you sure? Delete. Yes. I think I give you 3 opportunities. Are you sure? Because this is final, basically. And I'm like, delete, it's gone.
Hey, so when you did that, did you find that, okay, now you're not on there. What did you fill the space with?
Silence. I mean, one of the things I've learned in life is silence is a great thing. Like when I drive around, I get people all the time because they know I'm a podcaster. So they're like, what podcast do you listen to? What motivates you? What do you listen to? This, that. And I'm like, believe it or not, I spend a lot of time in silence. And I've discovered that you learn more in silence than you do with noise. And it's been a big, big treat to recognize that. It takes a little time. Takes a little practice, but when you're going down the highway and you got a 2-hour drive, and I drive to Nashville a lot, I live about 2 hours away. I love that 2 hours. The other thing, I'll pray in that 2 hours, but I also have great conversations on the phone. If I just have a moment and I can get a hold of a great old friend or something, I'll call them up. They know me now, so they're like, "Where are you driving now?" Because they know that I might have a windshield time or something. But
such a good time for that.
It is. It's a great time, reconnect with people, whatever. But you realize that. Or at least I've realized this, I would rather my relationships go deeper rather than broader. You can't do that if you don't have silence. And silence also brings you closer to God. I mean, I think silence also makes you recognize who you are. You got to not be afraid of yourself. And when you're in silence, boy, you face yourself.
You really do. Mike, what you're saying, I talk to a lot of guys, like I'm middle ages, let's call it, right? Early 40s for me, 42. You mentioned you're in your 50s. I feel like, dude, when you were young, you must have probably been into the hard rock and all the stuff, the high intensity things, all the things, right? And occasionally you can still enjoy it. But I've noticed I enjoy it less and less and less all the time. And I find myself craving the silence. And it's something I see. I think it's part of the pattern of why we get to live as long as we do, so that we can discover this.
And I'm like, why didn't I discover this sooner? What are you, an idiot? You're hitting yourself in the head going, man, this is gold, I mean, I know a lot of highly motivated people that fill their car time or whatever with, and look, everybody's got to do their own thing. I get that. But, they'll fill their car time with a lot of books or audiobooks and I do that. Don't get me wrong. If I know I'm going on a very long drive, 7 hours or something, okay, I might take up a book somebody's recommended to me and listen to it. But I'm just saying I take advantage of a lot of silence now, and I don't have to fill it with noise of listening to somebody else. There's a lot to be learned in silence.
Glad to be on this.
You asked me about a book too, I think.
Yeah, you got a favorite book?
Well, I've got 2 that I think have really moved me in life. That's hard to say. Now, outside of scripture, I think scripture always moves you because I think it's living. But 2 books that have moved me. One is called Uniformity with God's Will. It's written by a saint called Saint Alphonsus Liguori. He's one of the 32, 3, 4, whatever it is, 34 doctors of the church. It's so small. I remember when it was suggested to me, I was like, oh gosh, here we go again. Somebody recommended a book. And my friend who's a Catholic priest, he goes, trust me, you're going to like this one. It's only 40 pages. I said, now we're talking,
Read this thing in a night.
It's not that I don't like to read. It's just that I've got a stack of books that I want to get to in my life, and other people have recommended them. And I keep saying I'm going to get through them, and I can have 2 or 3 going at one time. But it's just this thing, I don't know how to describe it other than it changed my outlook. I mean that in a very positive way. Like it changed it dramatically. And then there was another one, and this one's on the business side. It was written, I'm going to say like 1870s, Dr. Russell Conwell. I mentioned this on the podcast the other day. He was the founder of Temple University. He was a captain in the Union Army during the Civil War. And he gave this speech called Acres of Diamonds over 6,000 times. And then they eventually put it into a little book too. And it's only about 40 pages. It's the most powerful business book I've ever read because it just makes sense. But basically, you and I, individual worlds, the world we've been given, the world where God put us to be planet, have enormous opportunities right underneath us. And he calls them acres of diamonds. And the diamonds that are below us, we don't recognize all the time, but it's our job to, instead of looking way up or my answer is way over there or whatever. No, actually, it might be underneath you. It might be literally on your own. And he uses different stories, but a farm. Your treasure could be right on the farm you're living on, and you need to figure out what's there. In the context of today, since our communication is so much broader than it was in the late 1800s, I almost look at like your connections in life, like the people you've gotten to know are diamonds. And so there's a lot of acres of diamonds within the network that you have. And that gets back to like, me and you were talking about just how connected you are to people that you don't realize, and just taking that opportunity to recognize, I didn't realize I was connected to that guy, or I didn't realize I was so close to that person or whatever. And that's where I get the idea of going deeper in relationships versus broader, because I've noticed that, man, there's more depth to people than we give them credit for. And sometimes you get to another layer and you're like, whoa, didn't know this about this person. Or I've even had a guy that I knew one time, this will sound crazy, but when I was doing industrial sales, I've known this guy all my life. And we were just BSing one day. I do not know why or how we got reconnected. Our cycle in communication is it comes and goes, but we've always remained really good friends. But it'll fall off and then it'll come back like we've never missed anything, and it just comes around.
Yeah, one of those, you don't miss a beat when you pick it up again. Yeah.
No, and he's just been one of those guys. Some people I'm always in contact with, but he's just not one of them. But regardless, we came back in contact with each other, got in the discussion of what you're doing, all this stuff. And I had been trying to get into this major plant. He goes, I know so-and-so over there. He said, I'll call him for you if you want me to. Sure. Well, little did I know that Alan had this contact that got me a contract that was $300,000 a month in industrial services. And what I mean by that from the business side is just that he's been a friend since high school. I've known him, went to a different high school, but I just always knew him, and it's just one of those guys. But it was just funny. I never expected him to have the contact to get me, a major opportunity. That's a major client. You know what I mean? It's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah. $300,000 a month is a big deal. And that's just my point. There was a diamond there that I didn't even know. That makes sense.
It does. It makes perfect sense. Yeah. No, I think a lot of our listeners will be able to relate to that too. That diamond might be the repair shop. It might be team members with them.
100%. Yeah. People will surprise you.
Yeah, they sure will. And let's hope for the best. I think that's what I always like to look for. And it sounds like you too. Amen. Mike, thank you so much for doing this with me today. You are a fantastic guest.
Well, I got to tell you, it feels a little odd being on this side. I haven't had butterflies in a while. I actually got butterflies for you. I was like, holy cow, I'm going to have to answer questions. I like asking questions,
Oh, dude, thank you so much for doing this. It's been a pleasure being a guest on your podcast. It felt really great having a platform now for what I do here with the communication stuff to be able to invite you in here to do this. Hey, when am I going to see you next in live?
We're going to be at SEMA.
SEMA? Perfect.
And we'll be in the tire business booth doing podcasting in their booth.
Great. I got a media pass this year, so I'll come down podcast row, I guess, right? Is it going to be SEMA or is it Apex, whatever their booth is?
It'll be SEMA, and tire businesses, since they're in the tire business, right? They'll be in the lower South Hall. And so come see us there. Are you aware that our podcast partnered up with them?
I wasn't aware of the partnership there.
With Tire Business?
No, but I seen you at a Point S conference at one point here earlier this year too. So I know you guys do some cool stuff around. You folks that haven't gone to SEMA, if you have not gone to that tire room, you said it's the South Hall?
Yes. And we'll be in the lower South Hall. There's actually 2 levels to that one. So we're in the lower South Hall. And actually, I think Tire Business's booth is always close to Hunter Engineering, which has they have a massive display and booth setup. So
massive.
Yeah, kind of easy to find. So we're usually on the other side of that.
Easy to find. I'll put in air quotes for that with SEMA. That place is huge. It's something I just did an episode on this where I was describing how I met Chris Cloutier at Apex. One year he was a keynote speaker, and I made him a LinkedIn connection, didn't think much of it, and just we shook hands. And there was 3 months later, I was asking him for a job. But like the connections that come out of that place are amazing, and it is something worth doing. Yeah,
absolutely.
Oh, I'll look forward to seeing you there, man. And there 4 through the 7th.
I won't be there on the 7th. I still have a son. My last one's playing high school football, and we'll have a game Friday night. So I have to get back on Thursday to make that game.
Good for you. Nice. What position's he playing?
Running back and linebacker.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So he's eager to see how far they can go this year.
It's a big deal over there in Kentucky, I understand.
It has been. They've had a good run at the state title and came up short 2 times. His sophomore and junior year, they went to the state championship game and lost both times.
Oh, but they made it. That's great.
I know, but now it's kind of like, he's like, Dad, I don't even care. I just want to get back to that field. It's called Kroger Field. They play at UK Stadium. And he's like, I just want to get back to Kroger Field. He said, we got to win this thing. I'm tired of just showing up, and getting beat.
He's got a fire under him. All right. Nice. Oh, I hope you have a great time at the game. Well, hey, thanks again, Mike. And thanks to all the listeners for listening up here today. If you have any topics you want to speak up about or hear us speak up about, reach out to me here at speakup@craigoneal.net. That's O'Neill with 2 L's. And do remember, listen to the other shows on the Aftermarket. We're changing our name, folks. It's not just the Aftermarket radio network anymore. It's the Auto Repair Podcast Network. Carm Capriato's Remarkable Results Radio. We have Matt Fonslow's Diagnosing the Aftermarket A through Z, Business by the Numbers with Hunt Demarest, the Auto Repair Marketing Podcast with Brian and Kim Walker, and the Weekly Blitz with Coach Chris Cotton. And hey, we had our guest today, Mike Edge. Thank you so much for doing that on the Gain Traction Podcast, a competitive podcast competing for your attention. What a wonderful man. So, yes, thank you so much to our sponsors who make this show possible. We appreciate every one of you, our listeners. Get out there, listen up, speak up, and hey, be curious about those people around you. It might be diamonds on those acres.
You've been listening to Speak Up, Effective Communication with Craig O'Neill on the Automotive Repair Podcast Network. Download our exclusive podcast app at automotiverepairpodcastnetwork.com because the best conversations in the industry start here. Check the show notes for Craig's YouTube channel and email. Let him know what topics you'd like him to speak up about.
Yeah.